What's up, guys? We are past the pop culture. My name is Ricky with my co-host here, Mr. Fen,
Yo.
and we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're gonna have to run through it kind of quick today, though. So to get started, let's see. There's a lot of things. Actually, I want to talk about the direct. We'll talk about the direct, then we'll go into the news.
Good.
Um, that was an interesting direct because literally that just happened.
Like an
Right
hour
before we
ago.
recorded this. Yeah, and I was just sitting there like, huh, like kind of.
uh,
I'm not 100% on it. The and how do I word it? I just don't think some of the voices match. Uh,
some?
Mario, not to point any fingers, but yeah, I did not like Mario's voice. He was
Yeah.
like, "Let's go," and I was like, "No!" Like,
Yeah.
it
I actually
was like,
cringed. When I heard him
I
talking, I
was like,
cringed.
it was like, or like his screaming was like too deep. I think the problem with it is that surprisingly the animation's very good and it's
Yes.
very expressive,
hmm
but the voices were just not lining up with the expressions of the character because and you can tell like they probably brought some of their peeps from like Nintendo to help animate this because it did have a very like anime feel to it on the
Right.
expressions and everything for the face.
hmm
But the voice acting was just kind of like ah ah, and it was just like what
Yeah.
like, and then so it was just like that's how it kind of came out, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I don't know. We're gonna probably, I'm gonna be honest here, we're probably gonna have to watch the Japanese dub. That's probably what's gonna happen if
You
they end
think
up
so?
dubbing it. Yeah, because I'm like, I'm not about it. I'm not about the way that they just did that, and
Oh.
I'm excited for it still. I still want to see it. I'm hoping that they kind of re-record some of those lines, because it's just there's not that oomph in Chris
Especially for
Pratt's voice.
Mario. Yeah.
Yeah, Luigi was fine, but it's still
No,
I
no, no,
still hear
no.
Charlie Day. I still hear him.
Yes.
So like
Correct.
I still hear him, so it's kind of hard for me to detach that. But it's a lot of their voice acting is just them
Talking.
talking. Yeah,
hmm
it's not really like they're not voice actors necessarily. It's just them speaking. The only one that's really kind of like doing anything is Jack Black because he's kind of like changed his voice, kind of more
hmm
snarly. Uh and
Did you like Princess Peach's voice?
I thought that was fine.
Okay. Good.
It matches it, I feel like, for the most part.
I'm a simp for her, so
But then
yes, that's
again, like the
correct.
expressions, right? Like the expressions of the
hmm
character, I always feel like don't always line up to like what they're saying and like the emotion they're giving off.
hmm
So, I mean, yeah, of course, like for animated, I always feel like you have to do like over exaggeration for it to come off as kind of like regular. Um,
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
so it's like I don't know, like 'cause sometimes the voices they just I felt like the voices just didn't really like provide that oomph, but it's whatever. I think at this point. But yeah, I also looked at like the other game that they showed like after like the Witch's Night
Mhm.
or yeah, and I was like, oh, it's kind of like interesting. It was kind of like a bullet hell kind of like 2D platform thing. It was kind of interesting, but I think more people were interested in the
In the
Mario
Mario.
movie. But
Yeah.
what do you think, Fen?
Uh, I actually cringed, which is kind of what like I'm scared about now. I didn't think I was gonna cringe at Mario like speaking more than a few words. Like when he did the Wahoo at the end, I was just like,
Yeah.
maybe that can pass. But when he was like screaming or whatever, it's just like all I hear is just Star Lord falling. And then with Mr. Charlie as Luigi, I can't. That's not Luigi for me. I'm sorry. He doesn't. I mean, I guess maybe he sounds scared because his voice is like shaky. I guess I don't know, but no. Again, Jack Black, no complaints. I mean, they introduced Donkey Kong. They changed the design. I don't know. What do you think about his
Yeah.
design?
His eyes are pretty close together, but I think that's fine.
Well, it's quote unquote more closer to the original.
Yeah,
So it's
so
like I
like
can't
yeah,
knock
that's
it for
fine.
that. But he didn't say a word, and that scares me a little bit. He's the
Yeah,
only one
because
that
they
has a
said like, "Oh
talk.
yeah, Seth Rogen's here," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then they
Yep.
just like show him slap Mario, and I was like, "Wait a second, he didn't
Yeah, I was
really get
like,
a voice line." And I was gonna ask, I was like, I almost watched it twice. I was like, "Wait, did Seth
did we
Rogen
miss
say
something?
anything?" Yeah, but I don't
No,
know. So I don't know. I don't think that they heard the other voices. Yeah, I think some of the casting should have been a little different on that, but yeah,
yeah, I don't
I
know.
guess that's I don't know. I feel like that's all we should really say on the direct part.
It's 50-50,
I
right? Before it was like, all right, I'm down for this, but now that we've hearing
what,
more, it's
what's
like, ugh.
what's the what's the consensus online? Like,
A lot of
did
people
you
like
read
it.
it?
So I was reading
A
the
lot of people like
comments.
it.
A lot of people are like, yes, they're paying, like they're respecting Mario. So I think it's mostly about the design and like the feel of the trailer instead of the voices. Like nobody's
Hmm.
saying anything about the voices. So I think everyone's kind of focusing on just everything except the
I think
voices.
it is just going to be different because it's like, you know
Yeah.
what? It's not it's not the
I
original, so it's fine.
yeah, we should just watch it because it's like the universe of Mario and not the voices, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, yeah. But speaking of voice acting, though, right? So we got Troy Baker. He wants to do a Daredevil game.
yeah, I thought you would find this interesting too.
Yeah. So I actually not sure if you clicked on the link in there. If you go to
Uh-huh.
Game Rant, you can look it up. So it's Troy Baker wants to do a Daredevil game. But there was a planned and somewhat in development Daredevil game from like
Mm-hmm.
2002 for like the PlayStation 2, I think, or PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those. And I thought, like, I clicked on that video and I kind of just like saw some clips, and I'm like, man, that just kind of looks like the old Spider-Man games. And
Yep.
I thought that was kind of interesting. But Troy Baker doing a Daredevil game, I see it. I can, it's like I won't have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But a Daredevil game in general, I
I'm
don't
thinking
know,
like not Gotham Knights, but you know the Batman games.
like an
But
Arkham
yeah, but Daredevil.
Asylum kind of like
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
just the Arkham series, basically, or it'll
Yeah.
be a cross of the Arkham series and Spider-Man, essentially, like that
Mm-hmm.
style of combat. I can see it. Just we
Not
won't
Gotham
have the
Knights.
devs that for Gotham
Maybe you
Knights.
can
We
have
won't, won't have the
co-op
devs for
and
that one.
She-Hulk can be with them.
Yeah.
uh,
I don't know, man. Like the Avengers game was a flop. I'm kind of worried of
uh,
any Marvel games. I heard Guardians of the Galaxy was good at least, though. I
yeah.
wasn't too. You know what I mean.
Well, like I mean, Midnight Suns
Uh,
is coming out this month, so we'll see what happens with that. But
yeah, we are gonna have to see about that.
I'm not in a rush to get it.
Uh, I don't know. I mean, I'd see it. I think if it was like more story centric, especially, I think it'd be really good.
Well, it's supposed to because everything, like every choice matters or whatever, and it can change the whole story. So, but to what extent? Like, is it you're forced to choose like a path, or
It's like go
I don't
left
know.
or right, but then it's like
Yeah,
it just leads to the same door, and it's like this
yeah.
wasn't a choice.
Left,
But that's
Wolverine
okay.
dies. Right, everyone lives. It's like, okay, well.
Yeah. And it's like actually, to be honest though, decisions in games get me like stressed out because I'm like, well, I don't want to have to play through the whole game again just to see this, and I'm
But
like,
that's
I
the
can just
point.
look it up, but I feel like that's cheating, and then so I'm like, and I'm just like, I get stressed out. I'm deciding what to do.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
like
so
that. But that's also why I get stressed out with QuickTime events. So all of a sudden it feels like I
yeah.
am the game, and it's like, oh,
Why
because you're like, it's always
are
during
you
a
playing this pressure on me?
cutscene. Yeah,
I'm just eating Cheeto Puffs. Yeah.
yeah. So,
Oh man. Okay. So, anyways, I'm down for the game, but there's some other kind of, I guess, like, I don't know how to categorize it. News. We're gonna go into the Matrix. So apparently, Microsoft's working on machine learning algorithms for tracking and influencing players'
yeah, that sounds
emotions.
scary.
That's the title. Uh, yeah, that does kind of sound a little
Like,
yikes. Because
how
it
do they
is
even
kind
patent
of
this?
like you're kind of like hacking the brain to be like, oh, people respond to this more or that more, and then like my problem with is like, yeah, it's probably gonna be more like I don't know like to what degree they're gonna do it. Like, oh,
Hmm.
like players are more receptive to the color blue, and then the whole game is like blue. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure
Yeah.
if they're gonna be dumb and just start sticking it everywhere, or if it's like players are receptive to to this or that, and it's like, oh, okay, well, we're just gonna add that everywhere in the game, and then
Mm.
it's just a culmination of things that just get people to play, but it's just like this monstrosity of just like junk that gets pushed out, you know. So it's like I don't know how useful this is actually gonna be because it's like
Yeah, I
I
mean, a lot of the
it's
articles
just
says
a
big
bad game is
words.
still a bad game is still gonna be a bad game at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if you sprinkle like crack in it, like people are not gonna want it.
Well, yeah, but what if it
Uh,
starts off as a bad game on purpose, but then the AI is like fixing the game itself based on how you react?
I don't know.
Or is
Yeah,
that
I
not a
mean, but
loophole
then
we
at
should
that
go under?
I mean, at that point, you're just not gonna want to play it. Like by the time the computer figures out what you like and what you want out of the game,
Hmm.
and then like that that opens too many cans of worms. Like, okay, well, you can't develop a game for everybody.
Hmm.
So unless it's like a metaverse kind of thing, and you just have like all these games going on or something, I don't know.
Well, that's scary.
But yeah, I think this is while it's going to be used because like it's been known for a while that video game companies use psychologists to see, hey, is this more addicting gameplay versus this one, and then they do studies and stuff to figure it out. They're already doing it. The problem is that
Hmm.
they've been doing this stuff, but like games just seem to be getting worse. So I don't really know how effective this stuff is.
Well, do you think that's because they're focusing on something stupid like this instead of just making a game? Like they're too
I
worried
think,
about like,
I
oh, I want
mean,
to make that one player happy. Let's figure out how to do
I
it.
mean, it's like I don't know to what degree they're over there and just like throwing it in, like sprinkling it everywhere. Like, oh, remember, they like flashing things, so that's what we're gonna do in the mobile game. But the mobile game just stinks, so it's like, well, it doesn't matter. Or if it's like, I don't know like how integrated this stuff is
Mm.
into the game design itself.
Yeah.
So like that's the hard part because some of these mechanics are so cliche now because we know it,
Hmm.
right? Like the flashing button or the timer, right? In like mobile games where it's like, oh,
Right.
you can only play for so long during the game, or login rewards, right? Like
Hmm.
that's all psychological to get us to keep playing the game, right? It's so that it becomes a habit. But we're so like used to it now where we see it, and so it's like it's still effective, but it's kind of like it makes the games worse, if that makes sense. A lot of these
Yeah, I could see what
techniques,
you're saying.
it's
Yeah.
more addictive, but it's worse, like gameplay wise. So I don't know to like what degree this stuff's like really integrated or not, but it just stinks. It's I don't. I'd rather have them more focused on like, hey, let's make games better by putting more money into our games, not just being like, let's make it more
Maybe
addicting so
maybe
people
they're
don't realize
just
how bad our games are. Like
well, that's what I'm saying.
if you stuck this in the Halo right now, no one's gonna use it or play. You know, it's like it's not gonna
Sure.
matter because it's like, oh look, Master Chief gun go boom boom sound and people like it. So you
Pew
know, it's
pew.
like, well, no one's playing it. You
Yeah.
know, so it doesn't matter. They made a bad game. You
That's true.
can't. That's not gonna make up for it. So it's like at the end of the day, I still think like good core, game designs and principles will win
Yeah.
out
AIs
because
can't fix anything.
I don't think machine learning algorithm can hack
What if
like
it's
art
like they're
in the
trying to
same
figure out
way.
how to like convince us to buy battle passes to make it like trick our brains to say, you know what, I will get a battle pass. Hmm?
I mean, that's probably what it's going to be used for more. It's just to like get more money out of us. Like that's what they do with the mobile market. Like in my
Yeah.
earlier example, they just they go, hey, this thing is only going to be 99 cents for this amount of coins for
For
like the
five,
next
yeah,
5 minutes to
for
get your
5 minutes.
credit card out because you're not going to be able to get it. Like that's I mean,
I
those
mean,
are
they
like very
work.
obvious ones, but there's very subtle ones that I
Yeah.
don't know about or don't even think about. Um, so I don't know, but it's one of those things where it's like it's stupid. I wish like they wouldn't be focusing on stuff like this because I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm not like reeling from like this like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they're doing this. But it's kind of
Hmm.
like, well, I mean, their game still is gonna suck either way. Doesn't matter how many shiny things you put in front of me.
Well, because
Uh,
not to kind of pivot, but the article also mentions that they already have a patent as well for like verifying their physical games for like the digital library. Like, don't you think they should kind of be focusing on that more than, I guess, AI for player emotions?
Oh man, I mean, but it just seems like because like since we're on Xbox, right? Like they're getting 3 day 1 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're getting Hello Neighbor 2, Chained Echoes, High on Life, right? Those are the next
Mm-hmm.
3 games coming next month, early December,
Mm-hmm.
right? They should be focusing on their catalog more, but again, like the other thing we're talking about, right? Amazon Luna, which I didn't even know was a thing until like you brought it up.
Oh,
Or
you
maybe
don't
I
remember?
knew about
I
it.
think you did, but everyone else forgot, so it's fine.
I was like, I think I did talk about it. I have a feeling
Mm-hmm.
I did, but it's their service, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like once we go into that article, they're just dying. Like Amazon Luna, it's like it's dying. Like I don't know. You're getting rid of all those titles. I don't know. So it's like Microsoft. They don't really. They were smart because they worked hard for a little bit, so they can kind of like venture out and see if these things work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like their Game Pass is pretty much untouchable. I mean, we'll talk about the games that PlayStation Plus is getting, right? But
Mm-hmm.
they're kind of untouchable when it comes to streaming or um, like just game library catalog right now. I mean,
Right.
the pass is just you can't beat it, especially if you're able to get it for $1, right?
Exactly.
So I think they can afford to just sit there and be like, all right, let's count our money and we got our player base now. Let's just try to hack their little brains and see how we can get them hooked.
That's the next step, I guess, right?
Yeah. Which
Nowhere to build it
again,
up.
I kind of don't like that because it's like video games get such a bad rap, especially with the whole video game addiction now. And they're
Yeah.
basically just creating like cocaine for our brains through video games, and it's like it's just gonna get worse. And
Especially
then
because they're
people
gonna
are
be in
gonna
the
wanna
mobile division now with
yeah,
Activision.
and then especially yeah, like they want to go into mobile, which there's a lot more suckers in there than in the
Mm-hmm.
regular gaming market. Because people expect a little bit more quality here versus mobile is kind of like you can have lower quality stuff and it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
As long as like the game just like blinks and does like sounds and stuff like that, it's fine. Um, it's it's kind of one of those things where it's like, well, I think we're kind of heading into a space where it's like people gonna start arguing, like, well, video games are bad.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically giving you drugs at that point. I mean,
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's different than, heating up a spoon and stuff, but it's it is. I think we could potentially head into some dangerous territory with this kind of stuff where you'll have
Mm-hmm.
parents going, "Oh, well, my kid's addicted. Look what Microsoft's doing. They created this perfect algorithm that's supposed to keep them hooked, and now he doesn't
Mm.
want to play video games." And then that becomes that it's just I can already see that this is
Hmm.
going to be like a bad thing in the long run. And then Microsoft's going to pay like a little slap on the wrist with their fine, but then the rest of the gaming industry is going to suffer. So I think overall, like we shouldn't go down this path,
So
right?
tinfoil
Because it's
hat,
like
you think that's why Sony's kind of being hush hush with everything? Maybe they know
I don't
something
know,
about
man.
Microsoft.
I
Because it's
don't
kind
know.
of weird. It's
I
like,
just
hey, I all of a sudden want I mean, not all of a sudden, I want Activision, one of the scummiest companies out there in terms of like monetization, and then their whole
mm,
focus is mobile games, and then now
yeah,
they're filing a patent right after about making an AI to
because
like
they'll own
focus on
Candy Crush,
emotions.
right?
Yeah.
They're gonna own Candy Crush, and like
So it's kind of
to double
everything's kind
layer
of
that
aligning a
tinfoil
little weird.
hat, to double layer the tinfoil hat, like that's an addictive game, right? In its own
It
right.
sure
You know,
is.
I mean,
Yep.
I've played it. It's just fun, right?
Yep.
But it's because everything's like popping and making noises and the numbers are going up, right? So,
It's kind of scary.
but once they learn, like, but what's the right pitch?
Yeah.
What pitch makes it the consumer more receptive to it?
IP
What
name.
colors makes them more likely to pay or to keep playing the game? And that's
Mhm.
very subtle, right? Because like nobody
Yeah.
really knows that, right? Like, or
You just
I
like
don't
look
know
at
that. Like,
it.
yeah, it's like, oh, that's a nice color. The yellow's like a warm color. Okay, like
Yeah.
we kind of have like feelings associated with colors, but it's like, oh no, like hashtag 304F, like that, like color hex is like gonna be the perfect color that makes them the most likely to like hit
Mm-hmm.
buy or something, like I don't know. And
What color is that? I
so
kind of
it's
want to
I have no idea. I just made that up.
know.
And then so it's like we can be heading to some dangerous territory, and then Microsoft, like, they're just gonna get slaps on the wrist whenever they
True.
mess up. So
Hmm.
it's like they're not gonna care. I mean, it's like they can shovel billions of dollars and they're like, all right, that's fine. So but for everybody else, it's like uh it starts making video games look bad. And then,
Yeah.
we've struggled so much, right? Like with the struggle for like video game ratings, right?
Hmm.
Like because video games were so like not expensive, sorry, so violent, sorry, and parents were like, "Oh, why is there like pixelated blood? Like that's bad." And then there was a whole lawsuit then, right? And
Yeah.
then that's when we have like rated E, E10, right? So it's like I
Dang
don't know.
parents.
It's like, well, no, it's like these companies, you need to be transparent, and it's like with this at least, yeah, the violence thing, it's all relative, right?
Yeah,
But with this, you can start seeing the argument, and it's like,
that's
we
true.
can't really trust these companies to have our best interest, right?
Hmm.
Because it's like, yeah, like social media does this in many ways, right? We sit there and we scroll and we scroll and we scroll and we scroll
And it learns
because
what
they
you
don't
like.
care about our actual health. Like they just
Yeah.
care that we're like watching their stuff.
The
And
clicks.
video games are becoming more like that. That's not healthy for
Mm,
society as a whole. Like so
true.
then because people are in many ways like want social media to fail, right? Whether it be
Hmm.
Facebook, Twitter, people want these companies to fail. So like now because people are kind of sick and tired of it, and I feel like video games is one like the last little things that like I think mainly because of the indie scene and like like people are like, well, no, it's video games, man. And
Hmm.
so it's like because like people already hate the like Hollywood entertainment industry, people hate the social media, like so it's like video games is like one of the last few things that people don't entirely hate
That's
yet,
next.
but there is fatigue now that we're seeing,
Yeah.
right? Like people are getting like video games aren't as fun anymore, like things aren't as cool, and so but we keep buying games, so there probably is some little trickery going on back there. But I don't know. I'm just like, man, don't do this to video games, man. I don't want to go into like GameStop and then it's like, warning, these games are highly addictive and may alter your brain
Oh,
chemistry.
sign here.
Like the California warning, when
Yeah.
you think of like cigarettes, like it's something
Yeah.
like that. Like these things contain
That's the
addictive
future.
materials. So it's like I don't want to like go in and like have that on the
Video
label.
games and cigarettes.
Yeah, so
All in
that'll be
one
the
stop.
thumbnail. I'll put that warning on like a game. It's like the future of gaming. That'll be it right there.
That's funny.
But yeah, so there you go. But yeah, no, it's kind of. I just think it's not a good move. But to quickly talk over the stuff because we've been kind of going circles on that one.
Yeah.
There's Microsoft, and then we got Amazon Luna, right? Like I mentioned earlier, it's basically sucking. It's gonna lose at least 45 games in December. This is from the
Yep.
article saying
That's
too many games to
15%.
list out. I really don't want to. Yeah, it's 15%, nearly 15%. They have over 300 titles, so kind of comparable to actually to Microsoft's
Hmm.
right now. But they're, I mean, I don't. They're losing Fury,
Way too many titles.
Archive Dimensions, Resident Evil 7, Yakuza, Super Mega Baseball Extra Inning,
Those are big
Miss
names.
Judgment, Castlevania Anniversary Collection. Let me see,
Big
Yakuza
names.
0. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like some big names, some more, and like what are these? And then some like DreamWorks games. But basically, they're just bleeding money, and because of Amazon losing a lot of money in the market, they've lost like a 1.9 trillion valuation from, or they no, they have raised more than half
Hmm.
of their 1.9 trillion evaluation. So they're basically Amazon's kind of like cinching down the belt, going, okay, we don't need this, we don't need that. So
Yep. See ya.
but their gaming stuff is just not doing good. It seems like, but I think right now it's just streaming or competing at least like with Microsoft in this space is
Yeah, they're a
really
little late.
difficult. Yeah, I mean at this point, I really only think like Sony I would have like would be able to do like Sony and like Nintendo would have to team up or something.
Yeah,
Like
right. That's not gonna happen.
yeah, and that's
They're
not gonna
both
happen.
stubborn.
Like I don't. Yeah, they're both stubborn as all heck for whatever reason. So uh yeah, so the PlayStation Plus is gonna be getting some games here. I kind of lost track
Rumors
of
and
the time. Do you have it?
speculations. Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah.
rumors and
So
speculations. It's a leak, but essentially it's
oh
just
yeah.
Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition, which I'm kind of interested in, and then Biomutant, which I unfortunately already have, so I don't have to worry about that. But it's also on PS5 and PS4 version, which is kind of cool. And then
Mhm.
DKO, Divine Knockout. I think we saw this at, what was it, like E3 or something? And we're like, was it E3? Maybe not, but it was somewhat interesting. So, but I kind of forgot I don't have PlayStation Plus, so this has nothing to do with me. And but if you if you have PlayStation Plus, you get
Yeah.
some cool games like that. Rumors, of course, but that's for December. We're not
Well,
gonna
we don't
find out
really
till like
know,
December. Yeah.
but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I think that kind of wraps everything
Yeah,
up though. So
that's
yeah,
right.
so so gaming interesting spot right now.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I mean, and also I'm not gonna make it seem like the sky's falling. Like it's not gonna be like that. I mean, this is gonna be probably over a few decades, if anything.
Yeah,
That
we'll
kind
be
of stuff
fine.
will
But if
become
you
a
feel like you're
problem.
starting to like games a little more than usual, that's the that's the AI working on you.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't. Maybe I shouldn't put that in there.
Yeah. So they're gonna be never mind. I was gonna make a joke, but that actually won't be funny. But anyways, if you enjoyed listening to our weird ramblings and you think the sky's falling too, leave a like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're on whatever podcast listening platform you're on, 5-star it, thumbs up it, leave a good review. We very much appreciate it. Share with your friends. If you'd like, you can also check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/pastthepopculture. We go live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We've been playing a lot of Call of Duty Warzone lately and having a lot of interesting stuff. I have some clips that will probably be going up over the next few days, so you can
Yep.
see me fail on one of them. And me just being dumb. It's mainly just me being dumb. Anyways, but check out our social medias actually, since I mentioned that, right? You can check out our clips. So we are past the pop culture on pretty much like everything: Twitch, Hover. I'm sorry, Instagram, Hover, Twitter.
Everything.
Yeah, everything. So just check those all out. We very much appreciate it if you guys would follow us. And yeah, I think I covered everything. So peace.
Yep. Peace.